Lawrence was recently honored at Triton College's Alumni Association's ceremony on April 11th. We are so excited to have him. He is so brave. He's a hero in our communities. Lawrence, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
So, Lawrence, why don't you tell me about your early life? Where did you grow up and go to school?
I actually grew up in Maywood, not too far away from Triton College. I went to Garfield Elementary School, Proviso East, and Triton while I was in Maywood. I started out at Garfield, played all the sports. You know, my dad actually was a 7th and 8th grade teacher and coach there. And he went on to coach at the high school as well. Many athletes that went on to the professional level. But I started at Garfield and I went to Proviso East, played football, basketball, and baseball there as well. I graduated in 1987, a couple years ago. And from there, I played football and basketball, and I had a scholarship, but I wasn't ready to leave per se. So I went to Triton, and which was right down the street. My mom actually taught as well in Jane Addams and Melrose Park, so that was a easy fix for us. I went on to play football and basketball at Triton, and that's when I realized that I needed to study. You know, it was a good fit. It springboarded me to where I'm at today, of course. But I had a good time at Triton. I know a lot of people from the neighborhood went there, and it was a great place. And you know, when I was there a couple of weeks ago, they made some major improvements, and it looks great there now.
How do you think Triton helped you get where you are today? How do you think it helped you?
Well, it helped me because I knew I had to study. It helped me with college life. It brought me to the realization that in order for me to be successful and compete with my education, it gave me the foundation. So at Triton, I was able to. I actually made who's who of American junior colleges for my academics, and it gave me that extra boost, that know-how. Like, okay, if I just settle down and get my grades, then I never know what could happen later on.
So, were there any struggles that you ran into throughout your childhood or your time at Triton that you had to overcome?
Well, it was growing up in Maywood at that time, it was a lot of gang activity, a lot of the social structure was a lot different than it is today. But a lot of gang activity, even in the school settings. So I had to overcome that. But at Triton, it was everyone there had a reason to be there, and they wanted to continue their education. At least started out with the 2-year. I was fortunate enough to stay busy playing basketball and football, so I didn't get into a lot of the negative things that was going on around me.
Okay. And how did you know that you wanted to go into law enforcement?
Well, I didn't want to. I didn't want to go into law
I know
enforcement.
this is a very incredible story that
Right.
you shared with me. So if you want to
Right.
share it with Triton alumni and Triton students, what
Yes.
inspired you to go into law enforcement?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I thought that me playing football, basketball, and baseball at the level I was playing, that I had a D1 scholarship, but my grades wasn't what they needed to be at the time. I didn't take class serious, so I realized that I had to, in order for me to get where I needed to go, I had to go to Triton and do better at it. So I went away. I went to the Marine Corps, and I came back home, but a friend of mine was telling me about a school here in Texas, and I came down with him and got enrolled in school, and living a fast life, doing what a young man thought he should be doing. I was carjacked, And from that carjacking kind of turned my life, to where I am today. But they stopped me at a 7-Eleven, a convenience store, and laid me on the ground. Put the guns to my head, laid me on the ground. And from there, I realized that, things happen real fast. And when they put the guns to my head, one of the other guys came from around the corner, and he jumped in the, I had a BMW at the time. He jumped in the BMW, and he couldn't drive a stick shift. And the guy that was standing over me with the gun asked him, "What you want me to do with it?" And the other guy that jumped in the car said, I don't care, kill him. I don't care what you do with him,
Wow.
kill him." So right then, I said, "Lord," and I wasn't the most religious young man, or prayed a lot, or even talked to God, for that matter. But I said, "Lord, please don't let him shoot me in the head. If he killed me, at least let my mom have an open casket." All the fear had left. When I say all the fear had left, gone, it was so, I was so brazen that I was kind of cocky. I said, "Tell him to take his time. I get insurance. I get another one tomorrow. I get another car tomorrow." And all the fear had left. And, I hear him trying to put the car in gear, and he was, the gears was, he was tearing up my gears. But I was like, I said, "Man, tell him to take the stick shift all the way to the back, to the right, and step on the other, not to break the other pedal." And he finally did it. I heard a click. So, and I froze. So me playing sports, especially baseball, I know 3 strikes, you're out. So that's when I prayed again. I said, "Lord, please don't let him shoot me in the head." And I heard another click. By then, I was still in shape, so I did a semi push-up and started running. And when I ran past some cars. Then I heard the glass shatter. I heard the gun, and I heard the glass shatter. It shattered right behind me. And I kept running. Of course, and me being in the Marines, I knew not to run in the straight line. So I was running between cars. And so I heard of this fence. I jumped over this fence. And by then, I made it to my apartment. Um, called the police, let them know what had occurred, that I was carjacked. And, I was waiting outside for him with my roommate. And next thing, I know, I hear the sirens. And I'm still kind of jittery and scared and nervous and whatsoever. But when I heard those sirens, that really let me know that things were gonna be okay. They really put more confidence in me. And when the officer came, he was nice, polite, calmed me down. So I knew right then that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help other people when they time of need, be a voice for those who can't speak.
I know you've also shared that you believe in fate. You kind of believe that it was obviously very unfortunate, but it happened for a reason. So you would have that experience to go into law enforcement.
Right. Yes, ma'am. I do believe in faith. I think things happen for a reason. Um, Again, I wasn't the most religious young man, and I didn't go to church all the time. But what it did do, it opened my eyes to reality, that every day needs to count, and make the best of it. So I went on from I went back to school. Once I got in law enforcement, I went back to school, and I received my bachelor's in criminal justice. I received my master's in management. Sorry,
It's okay.
come on. I received my master's in management, and then I just finished the doctorate program in organizational leadership. So I'm waiting, actually, right now, on the signatures, so I can finally say that I'm finished. But I have finished. I successfully defended my dissertation. So technically, I'm done. But I just want to get the signatures before I I tell my mom that
Well,
I'm done.
congratulations on all your hard work. What kind of awards and recognitions have you received in as your time as a law enforcement officer?
Well, I received many awards, Distinguished Alumni Service Awards from two colleges. I'm on two Wall of Fames, and Triton is one. I like Tritons because it started me. That started my foundation on education. Um, I had one for National American University, uh, and that was fulfilling. Because again, everything I've started out from Triton has kind of springboarded me and gave me the confidence to where I am today. Um, I have several awards when I was a police officer in Maywood prior to coming down to Texas. So I've received a lot of um, awards from catching murder suspects, um, several of them. I mean, it's a lot to count. I've been real fortunate.
Do you want to take me through your career as a law enforcement officer? What led you to now working in Texas? What led you from
Well,
Maywood to Texas?
once again from that carjacking in Texas when I was in college, I had to come back home. I had to go back to Maywood, which is home, to regroup. I just met my wife probably about 2 weeks before. I just met her, and I had to leave her down here in Texas while I went back to Maywood to regroup. And I joined. Well, at first I didn't want to be the police officer. I have a god brother. He was a Maywood police officer, and he brought me an application, and we talked about it, and I was like, I don't want to be a police officer. You know, who really want to be a police officer in this day and age, which was back then. You know, I said, no, I don't want to do that. So when my I was at home one day and my mom asked me about it, and I kind of, yeah, I'm thinking about it. So one day I'm in the kitchen.
Mhm.
Um, I'm in
I
the
like this
kitchen.
story.
I'm in the kitchen, fixing a sandwich, and my dad came in and he said, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "Not much." He said, "What you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm fixing a sandwich." He was like, "Yeah, I see you fixing a sandwich, but whose bread you using?" I was like, "What you mean?" He was like, whose bread and milk and not milk, I'm sorry, whose bread and mayonnaise and meat you using? I was like, it's for the house. He said, no, that's mine. So what you need to do is go ahead and fix that sandwich, but you really need to think about what you're gonna do with your life, because it's not gonna, you're not gonna just come in and continue to eat and drink and sleep and do whatever you have to do around here. And he said, didn't your brother give you an application? I was like, yeah. I said, but I don't want to be no police officer. He said, so you're making a decision that basically that's what you want to do. He said, okay, well, go ahead and enjoy that sandwich, and walked off. Now, me knowing my dad, he said it for a reason, so I thought about it, and my mom came back and asked me again. So I knew right then that it was time for me to make a decision on, I better go ahead and fill out that application. And, faith, we spoke about faith and religion a little bit, but when I filled out the application, and this doesn't happen on a normal basis, especially in law enforcement, where I've been a part of for over 20, probably 24, 25 years now. Um, I filled out the application. Let's say it was a Monday, and I got a call Tuesday. I got a call to come in and do an interview. So I went in, I interviewed, and when I walked in the room, I knew the three people that was sitting there. One was my Garfield elementary school principal. He was the chairman of the board. Another was a female. Her daughter and I went to Garfield Improviso East together. And another gentleman was a coach within the grade school, the elementary system. Him and my dad was best friends. So they knew I didn't have a lot of experience because I went to college and I went to the Marines and I was at home. So they talked about, me growing up in Maywood and playing sports or whatever, but they told me to leave the room. So I left the room about 5-10 minutes, and they called me back in there, and they asked me, did I really want a job? And I'm thinking, why would I be here if I didn't want a job? The things that I know now is a lot different, but to myself, being a young, smart, think I know everything, smart aleck, as they called it.
Mhm.
I said, yeah, I want the job, and they told me that I passed that interview. So Wednesday, I had to go and take a psychological and the physical agility test. So again, I was just fresh out the Marines, so I was good, you know, um, with the physical part. So I went and I took the test, passed the written test and the physical agility, and they called me back in Thursday, and I went back Thursday, and they gave me the job interview. I mean, they gave me the job offer. So they told me Friday that I had to go to a store to pick up my uniforms so I can go to the police academy, all within 1 week. So if that's not faith, if that's not God looking over, if that's not something that you can depend on, and believe in, then I don't know what it is. So that following Monday, I started police academy all in 1 week. That's kind of unheard of. And to this day, I've been real blessed. 25 years later, from starting working deep nights to making it to a police chief.
And we appreciate all of your hard work, all the things that you do to keep our community safe. I don't think people realize how hard it is to be a police officer, especially in this day and age. You have to work nights, you have to work holidays, you have to work on Christmas. Like you lose
Right,
all that time with your family
right,
to keep our community safe. And I don't think I really think that we should have more appreciation for all the things that law enforcement does.
right. I agree. With me being a law enforcement, it's not really the accolades, the the being merit for giving notice. It's something that I believe in. I volunteered to go into the United States Marines. I volunteered to come and be a police officer. I always wanted to be the voice for those who was voiceless. I wanted to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. Um, Not that I'm some big bad person, but defender. But I also know that people need help, and sometimes they don't know how to protect themselves. And since that day when I was carjacked and the feeling I had, I wouldn't want anybody else to go through that and have someone just come in and to their aid and not be of a positive influence on them. That's something that I strive to do every day.
Absolutely. And you're helping people with physical and mental disabilities, people with all you work with various types of people, all different types of people. Like you said, you want to be the voice for the voiceless, that you're
Right,
helping a vast variety of people that need help every day.
right, right. And
Uh,
it all started um from Maywood, right down the street from Triton. Um a lot of things you can't build upon something that doesn't have a solid foundation. And Triton was the one that gave me that foundation.
how did it feel? Your lights went out again.
I know that.
How did it feel coming back to Triton on April 11th and being
Oh, it
honored?
felt it felt great. I haven't been home in a while. Um, I was able to see family and friends. I was able to go back to Triton and reminisce on some things that I've been through while I was there. I mean, it was a great feeling. they treated me well at Triton. And when I came home and saw some friends, we just picked up from where we left off before. So it was good.
I love that. And what are your plans for the future?
Well, wait on that email, and once I get that, I'm gonna let you know, so we can
Okay.
we'll celebrate, by email. But just to continue writing, I write on emotional intelligence. I speak on emotional intelligence. I travel the country speaking to groups, do several commencements, seminars, trainings, or whatsoever. But I would like to continue writing. I'm writing on spiritual leadership for police officers making decisions for officers in the field. Then a friend of mine, we're gonna write about the racial trauma of police and community. I just want to bridge the gap for me being from Maywood and knowing the complexities of life. I just want to bridge the gap and be a visual emblem for those who need to see, because we can tell people all the time, but I want people to be able to touch me and be like, okay, I'm human just like him, and if he can do it, I can do it as well.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask you a fun question. Since you are from the Chicago area, do you like the Chicago Cubs or the Chicago White Sox?
Cubs, I like the Cubs. I like to I like to stand up for the 7 inning stretch and sing. I like the hot dogs, the popcorn. I like Wrigley
Just the
Field.
atmosphere.
Yeah, I like that. I need to come
I
back
just
and
want
go.
to read this quote that you shared at the ceremony on the 11th. You said, you are your biggest challenger, live a life that matters, love something greater than yourself, lead others from wherever you are, and leave places better than you found them. It is so profound. I'm definitely going to put that somewhere in my office. I love that you're putting out so much positivity into the world with what you do as a profession and the things that you share with others.
Right. I think that that's a quote that I heard bits and pieces of, and by putting it all together in my mind, um, that's what life is about. You have to love others more than you love yourself. You have to leave from wherever you are. Leave places better than you found them. That's something that a real leader does. And um, live a life that matters. We only have one, and you have to live a life that matters. And it has to matter not only to you, but the people around you. So who you surround yourself with, and the people who look up to you or look at you, those are the ones that mean the most to you. I also spoke on leadership. I speak about leadership, and you're a good leader when your followers are going to the deepest of the night, up the highest of the hill, and into the deepest of the valleys, and you don't even have to tell them. A great leader by the name of Colin Powell said that, and I definitely believe that. Sometimes, I hear, my team or people I've worked with, I hear them saying different things I have said before, and we just look at each other and smile because I know that I was impactful to them because they're repeating what I said. Even as a leader today, when I go and speak to people and places, I bring someone with me. So if I don't touch anyone, at least I want to touch the person that means the most. And whoever that might be, if it's the person that's with me or the one that's sitting in the back of the class or in the back of the auditorium, and I tell people that I come from the streets, Maywood. I come from the streets, but I can also put on a suit and tie and sit amongst those in the boardroom seats. Um, my aunt before she died, she said she said she loved me, and she told me that nephew, you can walk amongst kings and queens, but never lose the common touch.
I
that
love
means
that.
that means that again, I can walk the streets, but then I can put on a suit and tie and have an intellectual conversation with people in boardrooms. And
Mhm.
that's something that's something that she told me. But I think about that every time that I go speak, even when I went and spoke at Triton that day. You know, I can crack a joke and make someone laugh, or I can say something and make them tear up. And that's something that I aim to do on a daily basis, because your voices and your action is all you have. The people can tell you anything, but I rather show people better than I can tell them.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lawrence. I think we're going to have to wrap this up. I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your service and being a police officer, keeping our community safe. You're really an inspiration to all of us at Triton College.
All right, thank you. Go Trojans.